We'll go ahead and kick it off. Posted the agenda, which there is none. So if you just have questions, that this can be an open forum for that. But welcome to Porter Community Meeting. This is a CNCF project, so we abide by the code of conduct of the CNCF. I'll go ahead and go grab the CNCF code of conduct and post it in the chat. And then the floor is open to anyone who might have questions or comments or issues. You have 3 maintainers on the call, so please feel free to speak up.
Hello, I have an issue. Well, not so much an issue, but um, some kind of like direction. And this is Joel from the Microsoft side of things. So basically, I was looking at the issue. I think it was 1857, regarding the capturing the logs, the detailed logs as far as when Portal execute, to capture the logs of the mixing as well. So a couple weeks ago, I came up with a proposal as far as um, when the mixing start executing, enter a log as far as like mixing starts. And then when the mixing ends the execution, we just put another log, say mixing stops or ends. However, when I proposed that, I can't remember his name, but I think he was a moderator a couple weeks ago, Sarah, when you were not in the office. So he proposed to send the context object to the mixin, or if the mixin had to build another concept, context object, populate that with the logs and send it back to Porter, and Porter would traverse that context object and capture the logs into his own context. So I think he said he would ask you about what direction to go, and then circle back with me today.
Okay.
But I don't see him on the call, so
Okay, his internet's
so
out.
I was actually looking there. I'm trying to open the file.
Are we passing in our logger in a context? Kim, Brian, do you know?
We are creating one where so it is possible to do some things, but we do have a logger in there. That's how much I can remember.
Well, that's a start. Because, like, if we already have our Porter logger in the context, then all we have to do is update the mix and config to
Mhm.
persistent execution time. And then that context can come from the mix and config. And then that's how we capture logs. But you have to pass that mix and config object in through action time. Right now, in actions, we don't care about mix and configs. We only care about like the action we're executing. So if we
Mhm.
pass in more data at runtime, not build time, then this should be easy. Should be easy is mostly like this is probably not that big of a code change, but it is a lot of like reading code change, if that makes sense.
Okay.
And your goal right now is just to get more like
Uh,
logs from what the Nixon is executing itself from Porter, correct?
right. Yes. Because we kind of like on the when we run the polar command on our side, we more like interested in the on the detail status, you know, which actually include the runtime of how the mixing is actually running, right? Because some mixing kind of like, especially like the easy mixing, probably take like maybe depending on the resources that we are trying to build, probably take like maybe I would say half an hour, for instance. So
Mhm.
we're interested in knowing where Porter execution status is as far as like what's Porter doing in the moment. But we don't see that currently. So
Yeah.
that's why we want to actually invest our efforts into building out the detailed status on the Porter side of things.
Yeah. No, I think this
Mhm.
is a super valid issue and like feature request.
Mhm.
It is just getting the human volunteer hours to build it out. But I also don't think like I have to look at the mixing code. Um,
What was
but
that
like
issue number again? I'm trying to
1857.
Yep.
Thanks.
It's an oldie but a goodie. Is this something, Joel, that you would
Yeah,
feel
I-
comfortable implementing? Oh, okay. Yes.
Yeah, I will not volunteer myself into implementing
Okay.
that. But of course, I'm new to Porter, so probably take me a little longer than somebody who'll be coding Porter for a long time. Yeah, so I'm volunteering myself for that.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and I mean, I think I would be happy, and I'll
Mhm.
speak for the other maintainers. Like, we could also just do, I mean, we could try and do it right now. Like try and find the exact area of code of which you would need to kind of change.
Okay.
And that way you kind of have like a going off part, because like right now I'm going to assume like looking at Porter code base and reading it feels kind of like a black box itself. I
There you
don't
go.
know. Yeah, I was like, yeah, you just do it. And also it's like, well, where do you even start, right? So hang on.
Mhm. I got
If I
as far
remember
as
correctly,
yeah, go ahead.
If
Yep.
I remember correctly, we do pass some environment variables that allows you to configure the logger, if I remember correctly already, but the logger itself needs, as far as I remember, to be done in the mixin because it's a different executable. I would just pass on the configuration to environment variables and probably also something in the config and initialization. I cannot remember exactly.
Trying to find lines of code. Yeah, I think we actually have. All right, 1 second. Does this package management package take in, because that looks to be like the struct that all of the actions for,
I'm
does
pretty
that take
sure.
in so we'd only have to mess with that one, right?
No, I don't think so.
No? I don't know. Oh, what about here?
I think the package manager is where we add all the environment variables and things like that. If I remember correctly. I might confuse it with plugin, but it's very similar.
Mm. What are we calling that? Mixin to execute itself.
I mean, I'm looking in the Porter schema for mixins get schema.
Looking at, yeah, I'm looking in the Mixin package itself to see if there's like one where it, you have the package manager pre-run Mixin. I wonder if it's that. This is calling invoke. So, and then it's calling the action command. So maybe if you capture the context through the command, then you'd be, no, because that's the command context. But what if you pass it in through to validate? And mixin install go, you start passing it through that validate, because I think that's this install options is what's getting passed in, right? Those are our arguments. Then that's like the mixin schema itself.
Okay.
maybe that's. We need to update the issue with more context. That's actually what's happening. That's what we're realizing. We need to update the issue with more context.
Okay.
This is a rough first issue, but it is definitely needed. And I think we're happy to like kind of help guide you on it.
Okay. Yeah, that would
As
be
Kim and
super.
Brian like very focusedly looked. I'm just seeing them like very like intently.
I know. I'm like looking in at the where the login from context is in for the package manager right now.
Yeah, I thought it was package management, but then now like the thing is that I think I'm expecting when we like execute mixins, even though like mixin code is itself its own like repo, like you read this own executable, I'm expecting it to be more than just like one function call. And I think that's all it is. I think it's just like very basic. Because if you look at like mixin.go, is core mixin command, and then we have the provider interface.
Yeah, I think if I look at it correctly, in the package management client, there's a runner.go. I think that's where all the fun things happen.
Yeah. Well, then we're getting the mixin schema itself, but then we're passing in that like invoke action, and then once that's done, so that's like, I guess invoke is going to be build time, and install and everything else is runtime. Then actions, maybe you pass it in through. Does actions care about mixins? It should.
Oh, I remember something here. So how is it? We pass in the full action. If you're, for example, running the install action, we pass in the whole install section to the mixin, and then it can do things from there. We pass in the whole section of the YAML file somewhere.
So it's hard to remember.
Yeah.
Is there anything? Hang on. Where does actions? I know you have your own package. I know you do. Actions. Oh, yeah, you're right. It's under manifest core actions. I would have more. Huh. Okay. What's our takeaway? Update maintainers to update the issue. And I would recommend looking in the mixin package and seeing
Okay.
who's calling like that install.go like func.
Right.
Just like find the callers and see, because like you're going to want to find an existing port or context that's being passed through functions, and then just start passing that and like lining it through.
Right.
And then call out that logger. Actually, if you
Gotcha.
pass it through and it's already, it could, then you have to update the mixin itself to use the logger. Actually, there's a couple of steps here, but first is just plumbing. Then you'll have to update the AZ mixin to use it.
Would the telemetry throw and the tracing show the plumbing into that? If we had telemetry and just did like a live run of a mixin and looked at the hotel coming out.
Maybe. It's not a bad idea. I just don't know if it's gonna work.
I have my reverse engineering brain on to see, instead of going through the code, just run and see if a trace can kind of point us in the right direction.
Yeah.
I seem to remember we actually have a picture of something similar in an issue or something like that.
Oh.
There is an issue about some parts being incorrect in tracing, and I think they actually showed something with a mixin.
I wonder if we can sort by issue. Okay, let's just, maintainers, we'll dig into this.
Okay.
Joel,
So-
thank you for bringing it up.
Okay. So in the meantime, I mean, you suggested to look into the mixing package and figure out who's actually calling the install.go, right? To start
Yes.
with, the
Yeah.
validate function in the install.go. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah. Start just like kind of poking in the mixin package and try to see who's calling that and where those contexts is sourced from. And then we'll go from there. Yeah, I can link the issue. Give me 1 second.
Okay. Yeah, I think I have it handy as well.
Oh yeah, if you just want to post it in chat.
Yep.
And Ian, if you see anything in there or you want to also take a stab at it, you're welcome to come help. This has been something that's been asked for a while. And I think the hardest part is just figuring out how to implement it and like how we're going to kind of go into these black boxes without like losing these contexts. So cool.
I don't want to steal Joel's thunder, but
We are all in this together. Don't worry. Oh, I'm happy to keep the conversation going in the Slack as well. While the other two look. Cool. Does anyone else have any other like things that they'd like to bring up? For easy, good first issues. Did David do this yet? No. For easy, good first issues, if people are just wanting to like kind of poke around, this one, where like one of our like core examples just needs updated or migrated away from whale save. And then finishing, and Joe, you probably heard about this last time in the last meeting, but finishing the open tofu mixin and adding it to the feed is also a pretty good, easy one.
Okay.
Cool. If no one has anything else, we can just work on this issue and everyone can have their time back. But I'm happy to stay on the call and chat if anyone has any other things they'd like to bring up.
okay. I'd just like to introduce myself. I'm Ian Howell. I'm a Microsoft employee. I work with Troy, looking to try to get involved in some more open source projects. And Troy suggested this one, so I'm here, willing to help.
Thank you. Troy works on the operator a bunch. Brian, what's going on in the operator? Throwing you under the bus.
Yeah, sorry, I've been away on other project work, so I haven't been able to keep up with operator status lately. Sorry.
I think this is a good I'll ping Troy on. But he has a couple of great first issues that I think you'd like to do that.
Yeah, sounds good.
We can assign, but yeah. Thank you for showing up. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, of course.
Glad
to be here.
Cool. Well, thank you all. Some meetings are pretty hectic and some meetings are pretty chill. This was a pretty chill day, which is nice. So please enjoy the rest 40 minutes and have a great Thursday. Bye.
Right. Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Sarah. Cheers.